Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, September 25, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather look that just came out at 7:43 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:43 p.m. Jamaica time. We're still watching that code red right here across the waters to the north of Hispaniola. That still has a high chance of development over the next 7 days as it pushes through or near the Bahamas and then maybe towards the east coast of the U.S. And we also see to the east of that, which could be possibly Imelda, we have Humberto right over here just to the northeast of the Caribbean. That's tropical storm Humberto. And to the far northeast of there, about to affect the Azores, we have post-tropical cyclone Gabrielle, and it is now packing 70 mile per hour wind, so it's no longer a hurricane. Definitely downgraded back to maybe somewhere around tropical storm status, but it is post-tropical, so it doesn't really have those tropical characteristics at all, but it is still formidable. They're still going to be getting some bad weather across the Azores for sure. And if we take a look at the infrared, we can make out all of these entities, the clouds associated with that strong tropical wave that has a high chance of development over the next 7 days, currently lashing portions of Haiti and the Dominican Republic as well as Puerto Rico. The clouds associated with tropical storm Humberto right in here to the northeast of the Caribbean. And we can see the clouds already bearing down on the Azores associated with post-tropical cyclone Gabrielle. And if we take a look at the latest here from the Hurricane Center about the code red, let us read what they're saying. So, as of 6:43 p.m., this is what the Hurricane Center is stating. Let us read. It's a lot to read, as a matter of fact. And even zoom out a slight bit. Okay, there we go. So it says here, showers and thunderstorms are showing signs of organization in association with a tropical wave located near Hispaniola and the Turks and Caicos Islands. An area of low pressure is expected to form along the wave tonight or early Friday when it moves near the southeast Bahamas. This low is expected to become a tropical depression when it is in the vicinity of the central and northwest Bahamas late Friday or over the weekend, and then track northwestward or northward over the southwestern Atlantic. Interest in the Dominican Republic, Haiti, the Turks and Caicos Islands, and the Bahamas should monitor the progress of this system. Regardless of development, heavy rains and gusty winds are likely across the region during the next couple of days. While there is significant uncertainty in the long-range track and intensity of the system, the chances of wind, rainfall, and storm surge impacts for a portion of the southeast US coast are increasing. Interests in that area should monitor the progress of the system. And we see that they've given the area an 80% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 90% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And if we take a look at the latest info, the close-up of it, apparently the circulation is somewhere over here, if not out to sea, just right here on the coastal side of northern Hispaniola. That is where the low-level center should be located. And we see a lot of thunderstorms associated with the system affecting Haiti, Dominican Republic, even far off to the east of there into Puerto Rico. They're still getting on some thunderstorms as we speak associated with the clouds from this system. Regarding what the Euro spaghetti model ensembles are showing, We see that it is definitely right here across northern Hispaniola. Should continue pushing towards the northwest into the Bahamas. Definitely, and expected to become a tropical storm, if not a hurricane, as it makes its way towards those islands, if not across those islands. And we see the GFS ensembles are in agreement with this, the same kind of track like what the Euro is showing. And we can also see in terms of the intensity, well, somewhere within the next 2 days for sure, more than likely by the end of the next 2 days. So let's say by around Saturday for sure, this should acquire the name Imelda, if not a tropical depression for sure. As we can see here, most of the models take it up into the green, so represents tropical storm status by the 36 to 48 hour time frame from now. And we see a few of them making it up to hurricane status in the yellows. That's about the 96 hour time frame, maybe the 3 to 4 day time frame. We'll see it actually plays out. But regarding tropical storm Humberto, we can see we still have a lot of nice thunderstorm associated with this system. Definitely doesn't look like a hurricane yet. Still fighting off some wind shear. We see some of these clouds pushing off towards the north, if not the northeast. A lot of thunderstorms right down in here. This is where the center of circulation is located. We see all of the reds into the blacks, into the grays, into the purples. A lot of deep convection down there, but we see that it is out to sea, so it's not affecting much of anyone at this time. As of the latest here from the Hurricane Center, Tropical Storm Humberto is packing 60 mile per hour winds. And we know that tropical storms usually pack anywhere from 39 to 73 mile per hour winds. So it is a medium range tropical storm as we speak. It is currently moving towards the northwest at 6 miles per hour. So it's moving very slowly. And just like we predicted in yesterday's video, if you remember yesterday, we had a lot of H's and we said we know that the Hurricane Center isn't really strong regarding the intensity model guidance, so it was only a matter of time before we start to see some M's that represent major hurricane status at that anywhere from category 3 to 5. And here we go, now they're actually saying that it's going to become a major hurricane over the next several days. So hurricane status as soon as 2 p.m. on Friday, and then as you can see here by 2 a.m. on Sunday, major hurricane status should come in, then pushing northward, passing just to the west of where we have Bermuda. But we see that the certainty isn't really that strong regarding where it should be by around Monday. But as you can see here on the Euro and the GFS supercomputer models, this is valid for 0Z on Tuesday, September 30. So this is actually about 7 p.m. on Monday, September 29. And this is where the Euro has future 94L, which should be Imelda by that time, starting to push into South and North Carolina. This is where the Euro also has Tropical Storm Humberto, just to show you that it is very slow in its motion for sure. What does the GFS show? So right here to the north of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico is where Humberto should be. The GFS, on the other hand, definitely in agreement with where the Euro is showing regarding future 94L, which should be Imelda. But Humberto on the GFS is a bit faster, just to the north of where the Euro has it. It's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. It doesn't look like we're going to be seeing that kind of Fujiwara effect because the systems are so close to each other anymore, because it seems like future 94L Imelda might just be moving too fast for it to feel the effects of the other system. We'll say it actually plays out. We know these things can definitely change. Every day we have a new run, so who knows, maybe something else is being shown tomorrow, or maybe it actually sticks to what it is showing as we speak. Regarding post-tropical cyclone Gabrielle right here, so many names to keep up with. So we see that it is definitely pushing through the Azores as we speak. A lot of clouds, pretty sure that they're getting on some strong winds, heavy rainfall as we speak. As of right now, we see the wind field gold that represents tropical storm force winds. They still have a hurricane warning up for the area, even although this system is packing 70 mile per hour winds. And we know that anywhere from 74 to 95 are classified as a hurricane, so it's definitely down there, high-end tropical storm, but they still have hurricane warnings up nonetheless. Pretty sure that they could get up to some hurricane gusts within some of these rain bands. which is why they still have hurricane warnings up. And it is currently moving towards the east-northeast at 30 miles per hour. So it's moving very fast. So by around 6 p.m. on Friday, it should be well out of there. And then as you can see here, it should be curving back to the south into portions of southwestern Europe and even as far as northwestern Africa. Very interesting. We'll see all of this plays out. And whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that tropical wave that we are, experiencing across Hispaniola, definitely defined on the surface map right here. The symbol associated with tropical storm Humberto. To the southeast of that, we have another tropical wave squashed to the south of the main development region, intertwined with the intertropical convergence zone. And to the east of that, we have another tropical wave that's now affecting the Cabo Verde Islands. And we know that these are either moving from east to west or north to the northwest from southeast, all courtesy of these ridges of high pressure to the north. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, we can make out these entities. That tropical wave that has a high chance of development, now affecting Hispaniola. Tropical storm Humberto right here. The tropical wave definitely being shared as we speak across the southern main development region. And that other tropical wave that's currently affecting the Cabo Verde Islands right now. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Thursday, September 25, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast for parts of some northeastern parishes in Jamaica on Thursday morning, also affecting sections of some eastern, southern, and western parishes in Jamaica on Thursday afternoon. And we know northeastern parishes, and we're talking about St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. Eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes like those ones that we see in the current county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew. Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And we know our northern parishes, we're referring to those parishes on top, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. And southern parishes for the afternoon, we're talking about St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrews, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and Westmoreland. And what ended up happening? As early as around 7:36 a.m., the visible satellite images were posted not only here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, but they were also posted on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So at around 7:36 a.m., we saw the visible satellite images bringing some clouds across section of some northeastern parishes, so definitely across section of coastal St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, eastern St. Thomas definitely gotten on some amount of overcast skies, if not some isolated shores at that time, just as predicted. And then by afternoon at around 2:01 p.m, the visible satellite images were posted, and they highlighted some clouds bringing some overcast skies, if not some thunderstorms, to sections of Westmoreland, sections of St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrews, St. Thomas, Portland, sections of St. Mary into St. Anne at that time. And if we take a look at the visible, we can see what took place. The thunderstorms definitely erupted and pushed across the waters to the south, but it definitely affected not only the eastern and southern and western parishes, but we saw some of the activity pushing into some north central parishes as well, and we can see it all even better on the infrared. Look at all of the thunderstorms that took place for sure. First of all, look at the bursts of convection that represents that cumulonimbus cloud cover across especially some eastern, southern, and western parishes. So we definitely had that thunderstorm activity across sections of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, sections of St. Andrew, Portland, St. Thomas. Look at the huge bursts of convection to the south of Kingston pushing off towards the south. Pretty sure that the fishermen, if they were out there at sea, got in on somewhat of a freak storm kind of like pattern down in there this evening for sure. I mean, look at the huge burst of convection pushing off from the St. Thomas and Kingston direction out to sea. That was just crazy. But as you can see, most of the activity has cleared out to make way for some, starry skies, not necessarily cloudy skies at all. And we have the Jamaican Doppler radar imagery right here, confirming what took place today. All of the rainfall that we see in the greens into the yellows, especially across sections from eastern, southern, and western parishes. And we even had some rainfall in my part of St. Thomas for sure. I'm indeed grateful for that. And we can also see that huge burst of rainfall right here in the yellows and the reds that pushed out towards the southwest as well, definitely coinciding with what we just saw on the infrared. And as you can see, everything is clearing out for the most part across the entire island. And we definitely have confirmation right here from the live camera here from Sea Jamaica's YouTube channel. This is showing 3 p.m. in and around the Flatbridge area. You can see that it was definitely wet for sure. People in their vehicles going about their business. They were getting in on some moderate rainfall at that time. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit Sea Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free. So subscribe today to this channel so that you don't miss out. Even the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website is confirming where we had that rainfall today, especially across sections of some southern and western parishes during the afternoon. And we have a few comments that came in today from some of our followers. We have Shannon Pitkin stating, off Old Harbour Road, Spanish Town, it has been raining for the last hour. Thank you for confirming, Shannon. We have I Am Groove stating, it cloudy, no rain. I wonder what parish that is. We have Fest Genius stating tear over Spanish Town side, like wow, thanks for confirming. And okay, we have I Am Good actually confirming with the parish that, you know, there was just cloudy conditions and no rainfall. Thank you for that. What about our YouTube page? Let us zoom in on these comments. This was about 9 hours ago, so this was for the morning post. So the northeastern parishes getting another rainfall. At that time, Active 4081 stated that his part of Clarendon was hot. We have half cloudy, half sunny, and very hot in West Portland. Thank you for confirming, Youth Silvera. We also had some comments coming in here on our Instagram page. We had Love Latte 108 sitting sunny and well hot in Portmore. Let's see, we have Des Lusky stating sunny in Mobe. We have Fiona 90 stating light showers in St. Anne. We also have Reggae African stating Discovery Bay, St. Anne overcast. Edwards Tanisha stating thunder here in South Manchester, just a little dew. We also have a lady who speaks her mind 876 stating St. Mary, place only dark all day. Jen Tweety stating raining in Spanish Town. We also have Anto _Netty _89 stating it's raining here in my part of Stony Hill. Cool Gal 2 stating light showers in Portmore. Even on our TikTok page we had the comments coming in. We have Cheryl stating Kingston. I wonder what was happening in Kingston at that time. We have Sheldon stating no reach in Kingston or by Spanish Town. Okay, we have Keisha Boozer stating Clarendon raining. Thanks for confirming. We have Ushane stating Trilonia Washway. We also have Kingping stating fall at Chester. So I'm guessing it rained in Manchester as well. Thank you all for confirming what the weather was like in your area for today. Alright, so we're about to reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website, the latest Jamaican Doppler radar image, the latest Cuban Doppler radar image, the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar image, and the latest Cayman radar image. We want to see exactly what's taking place across the island right now. And the latest still image from the Weather Nerds website is showing 0025 UTC, which is actually 7:25 p.m. So this just came out 12 minutes ago, considering that it is 7:38 p.m. right now, so 13 minutes ago. As you can see, we still have some leftover clouds, all courtesy of the upper level wind shear that blew the thunderstorm clouds that were south of the island towards the northeast. So still have some clouds blocking out the stars across the far east. We still have some leftover clouds across sections of southern St. Elizabeth as well. I doubt there's rainfall underneath any of that. Most of the thunderstorms with the rainfall should be to the south of Clarendon, as you can see here. And if we take a look at the latest Doppler radar image, we're going to be confirming this. This is showing 0021Z, which is actually 7:21 p.m. And as you can see, we see the rain bands in the greens into the yellows. That represents some moderate, especially heavy rainfall in the green, in the yellows and the oranges to the south of Clarendon, just like what we saw on the infrared, definitely coinciding. And we're even seeing some light showers just right here of the far southeastern edge of St. Thomas, definitely also coinciding with some of these clouds that we see out east. So not necessarily heavy rainfall, just some light rainfall. Regarding the Cuban Doppler radar, looks like it is actually up to date and showing what we just saw on the latest Jamaican Doppler radar. It is showing all the way up to 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 7:20 p.m. Jamaica time. So definitely close to the time period right here. Jamaican Doppler radar is just 1 minute ahead, and at that time we saw the rain bands at the Jamaican Doppler radar imagery was showing the rainfall to the south of Clarendon and the rainfall trailing all the way up into the east of the island or near eastern parishes. Regarding the Cuban Doppler radar, we can actually see some rain showers definitely associated with that tropical wave that is affecting Hispaniola. Some of the moisture pushing into eastern Cuba, some of the moisture right here across sections of the western peninsula of Haiti. And look at the direction that the rainfall is moving. Very interesting. Looks like it's moving, if not from north to south, maybe from northwest to southeast. Definitely showing that there's a circulation somewhere here affecting Hispaniola. Not the usual easterly flow at all. It's going to be very interesting to see how tomorrow plays out. Tomorrow looks like it's going to be a rainy day, or rainy afternoon at least, across Jamaica. Stay tuned to see how it looks. Regarding the the Cayman Doppler radar imagery right here, not seeing much of anything across western Jamaica, but we do see some rain bands right here to the south of St. Elizabeth. Just some light rainfall, some rain bands across sections of central Cuba, some light to moderate, some slightly heavy rainfall. And we also see some hit or miss isolated showers, maybe some light to moderate rainfall to the west and to the south of the Grand Cayman area. Regarding what's taking place right now, the live camera here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel is showing downtown Kingston. Let me bring it up into the 1080p HD. As you can see here, we have people walking about, going about their business. We also see the vendors vending, people in their vehicles going about their business. Nothing in lieu of bad weather taking place right now in this era. And that should be the order of the evening into the night. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we're 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Friday, temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Friday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Friday. And we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some yellows that represents up to at least 1 degree Celsius above normal temperature. I know the normal temperature for the month of September across Jamaica is around 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 32.2 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32.2 to 33.2 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on a Friday. And unfortunately, we have numerous maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS online Twitter page that we have to highlight. And we know that we have to highlight these because we know that when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, please let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Friday, September 26, 2025. We're referring to Big Road to Glengoff, Freetown, Grateful Hill, Mispa Road, Gough Road, Mount Industry, Center Cut, Aberdeen, Juba Spring, Long Hill, Caledonia, Bamber Ridge, all in the parish of St. Andrew from 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Whitegate to Portland from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Belfield District in St. Catherine from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. New Haven Heights in Trelawney from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's basically the same thing here. Another one we have Hodges in St. Elizabeth at 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Left Hall in Westmoreland from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And finally, Ocean Ridge Estate in St. Andrew from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, seek shade when outside. Eat fresh, try eating cold foods such as salads and fruits. Rest, make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak, take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugary drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those rays. And we see some dry air across the waters of the main development region extending from Africa. We also see a lot of dry air across the northern portion of the North Atlantic. We know that the dry air is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain. But what we're liking that we're seeing is the fact that there is a lot of moist air. Look at the blues. Wherever we see the blues, like across the Caribbean, the Southwestern Atlantic, the Gulf, in and around Central America, the southern main development region, all the way up into Africa, all of those areas that we see the blues, that's where we have a lot of clouds. That's how you know the air is moist, and that's what we want. We want more moist air so that we get more clouds, so that we get more rainfall to cool down the temperatures and keep water in our pipes. But regarding the Saharan dust forecast for the next 3 days, today is September 25. We're heading into September 26, September 27, and September 28. And as you can see here, Jamaica should be in the clear for the next 3 days. No Saharan dust affecting us. But we see some Saharan dust pushing through the eastern Caribbean over the next 3 days. We see the oranges, however, turning into the yellows, into the greens. That means the Saharan dust should be decreasing in intensity. But some of it could make it to the Jamaica area by early next week. But we're glad that, it's not that vigorous. We don't really, expect to see crazy hazy skies. And we don't really expect it to trigger any respiratory illnesses like that widespread across the island. Asthma, sinusitis, you name it. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, we're seeing that the highest waves are where we have the entities, where we have tropical storm Humberto to the north of the eastern Caribbean. That's where the highest waves are located. Look at the purples into the burgundies, representing 2, maybe up to 6 or more meter wave heights. While to the north of Hispaniola, we see the dark blues into the purples as well, maybe up to 2 to 3 meter wave heights. That's where we have 94L. But look at the Caribbean. Light shades of blues on one half, and then blues on the other half. So anywhere from 0.5 a meter wave height all the way up to 1, maybe up to 1.5 meter wave height. And that's because of the winds. We don't really have strong winds across the central to the western Caribbean. We see more blues, so weak winds of 0 to 5 knots. But more of a southeasterly flow on the eastern to the central or east central Caribbean side. We see it averaging anywhere from 5 to 10, maybe up to 15 knots at most. And we also see that where we have the entities, that's where the strongest winds should be located. Right here to the north of Hispaniola, where we see the bright greens into the yellows, up to 25 knot winds or more. And right here to the north of the Lesser Antilles for tomorrow, where we have the counterclockwise spin of Humberto's winds, getting all the way up to hurricane status for sure. But regarding Jamaica's wave forecast for tomorrow, we see a lot of blues surrounding the islands at 0.5 of a meter wave height to the north of Portland, 0.4 of a meter wave height to the north of St. Anne, to the south of St. Thomas, the same as Portland, to the south of Clarendon, the same as St. Anne, to the north of Hanover, the same as St. Anne, and to the south of Westmoreland, 0.3 of a meter wave height. And that's because of the weak winds expected tomorrow. First of all, look at the direction of the winds. Very interesting. So it's not the usual easterly flow that we know would cause the air to pile up and then thunderstorms across central and western parishes. Tomorrow's forecast actually is definitely caused by the location of 94L, the proximity of the system passing just to the north of Hispaniola and pushing towards the northwest near Cuba and the Bahamas. So look at the flow. We see more of looks like a southwesterly, if not a southwesterly flow. We see more of a west-southwesterly flow on the western side. And look at where the air should be piling up. Maybe a cross section of some northern parishes. That's where we have the least amount of wind. That's where we could have some of these low-level clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. And we can't rule out some moisture pushing from off of the sea with the southwesterly flow and pushing into some southern parishes. That's definitely possible. And the upper-level winds seem to be coming in from the west. Very interesting day tomorrow for sure. We didn't see much rainfall in the morning, but we saw some rain bands to the south and to the east of us. Some of that could come on shore. We'll see how that plays out. But look at the afternoon. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 1 p.m. Jamaica time. And look at the rainfall in the blues across eastern, central, and western parishes. GFS definitely showing the brunt of the rainfall in the darkest blues across some northern parishes. Very interesting. So look out for that rainfall. Clearly it's going to be an eastern, central, western parishes with the emphasis on the northern parishes kind of day. So get ready for some rainfall if you're in Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, It looks like some rainfall, but on the lesser side on the south coast for sections of St. Thomas, section of Kingston, St. Andrews, St. Catherine, Clan Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and Westmoreland. We'll see it actually plays out. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps here from the Euro and the GFS are in agreement that it's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours. The Euro going up to at least 0.74 of an inch of rainfall. The GFS going up to at least 0.7 or 0.89 of an inch of rainfall. And we have to take these forecasts with a grain of salt because it could be more than this, it could be less than this in terms of the rainfall totals, and whatever happens we'll definitely take it because we're in the month of September. And in Westmoreland, whose bar graph is being shown right here, we usually receive around 137 millimeters of rainfall during this month. For Westmoreland, that's about 5.4 inches of rainfall, while in Hanover we usually receive around 172 millimeters of rainfall. For this month, that's around 6.8 inches of rainfall. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of September or for the entire year, you can visit nomadseason.com, and that website will show you that information. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next one, John 68 hours, that stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens represent inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. So for 12Z on Saturday, which is actually 7 a.m. So we're showing Saturday because we already saw what Friday is going to be looking like. We're actually seeing some moisture surrounding the island for Saturday morning, maybe associated with the outer bands of future Imelda. Then on Saturday afternoon, look at that rainfall still engulfing eastern, central, western parishes. What does the GFS show? Do we have agreement? Saturday morning, rainfall surrounding us. Saturday afternoon, what do we see? Rainfall again across eastern, central, western parishes. What do we see on Sunday morning? Sunday morning, we see some moisture across the southern end of the island. Sunday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, western parishes once again. What does the GFS show? Sunday morning, rainfall across the southern and western parishes. Then Sunday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, western parishes once again. What do we see on Monday morning? Monday morning, don't really see much of anything across Jamaica on the Euro. Monday afternoon, however, we see rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Interesting. What does the GFS show? On Monday morning, rainfall across the western end, the waters to our north, and the southeastern end. Then on Monday afternoon, we're seeing about some amount of rainfall across the northwestern end and the eastern end. What do we see on Tuesday morning on the Euro? On Tuesday morning, rainfall across the far western end. On Tuesday afternoon, we're seeing rainfall across eastern, central, western parishes. What does the GFS show? Tuesday morning, rainfall to the north of us. Tuesday afternoon, rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, western parishes. What does the Wednesday morning forecast on the Euro show? On Wednesday morning, rainfall to the north of us, rainfall across the eastern end. Then on Wednesday afternoon, we're seeing rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 1 John 68 hours. So this is valid for Thursdays, October 2. We see rainfall to the north of us, rainfall to the east of us. What does the GFS show? Wednesday morning, rainfall west, south, and east of us. Wednesday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. And we're stopping it right here at the end of the 1 John 68 hours as well. So Thursday, October 2. And we have some differences. On the Euro, we see rainfall to the north of us, and to the east of us, and to the south of us. GFS has Jamaica engulfed in rainfall by that time. We'll see it actually plays out. And in terms of the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are actually showing the rainfall totals that are expected from both systems, Humberto and the 94L, that should be affecting portion of the Greater Antilles in the into the Bahamas. We see the dark reds into the purples, into the pinks, into the peach colors. That's representing anywhere from 2 all the way up to 7 inches of rainfall. We also see the dark reds into the purples and the pinks across sections of Northern South America into Central America as well. So these areas could get in somewhat of isolated flash flooding for sure. While other areas that we see that are shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, and reds So anywhere from Central America all the way into the Lesser Antilles should be getting on an inch or less of rainfall. But regarding Jamaica's rainfall totals for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall combined from now up until Thursday, October 2. And we see Jamaica on the Euro shaded in the greens into the yellows into the oranges that represents anywhere from 15 all the way up to maybe 50 millimeters of rainfall. The GFS getting up there as well, even up to the 60 millimeters of rainfall range. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, I will definitely be here to keep you posted if God spares life. Taking a look at what's taking place across the rest of the Caribbean. So we have some cloudiness right here near Costa Rica, Panama into Nicaragua. Tropical wave definitely doing a number on the Turks and Caicos, southern Bahamas into Hispaniola and Puerto Rico as we speak. Regarding that area near Puerto Rico, I'm pretty sure that you're going to be seeing a lot of moisture down in there. So let's look at the Puerto Rican Doppler radar. Look at that. Some definite heavy rainfall, no lashing portion of southwestern Puerto Rico. Look at the dark greens into the yellows, oranges, and reds. That's some heavy rainfall right there in the Mona Passage between the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. That's out to sea. Any fisher folk out there, they're definitely getting on some bad weather. And if we load these images from earlier today, we saw where most of this banding was across sections of the Dominican Republic. We see that it is trailing towards the north, and it is also pushing towards the east as well to incorporate western Puerto Rico. Very interesting. Regarding the Barbados radar, not seeing much of anything across Barbados or the Windward Islands right now. We do see some moisture to the east of Barbados and to the south of there, pushing towards Trinidad and Tobago though. Regarding the weather wave Doppler radar images, just as mentioned, that moisture associated with the tail from 94L. We also see some moisture right here across section of Florida into section of central Cuba, and we see the usual moisture across section of Colombia. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Friday. And we can clearly see those areas that are shaded in, the dark reds into purples and the pinks, that represents anywhere from 2 all the way up to maybe 4 inches of rainfall for portions of Haiti, Dominican Republic, the Turks and Caicos, southeastern Bahamas, eastern Cuba, also Panama, Costa Rica as usual, while other areas that are shaded in the greens, yellows, and oranges and reds, that's an inch or less of rainfall. Areas like coastal Guyana into Suriname, French Guiana, Venezuela, Colombia, section of Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, section of Guatemala into southern Belize, into the Yucatan, as well as the Cayman Islands, Cuba, the Bahamas, and Florida. Those areas those areas will get in on an inch or less of a rainfall. Alright, so what's taking place across the eastern Pacific? Across the eastern Pacific, we still have Hurricane Narda, as you can see here. The infrared showing quite a formidable system. Look at the deep convection in the purples. Very bad weather out there out to sea. As of right now, the latest from the Hurricane Center states that Narda is currently packing 90 mile per hour winds. And we know that systems that usually pack anywhere from 74 to 95 mile per hour winds are classified as category 1 hurricanes. So it's a high-end category 1, expected to continue pushing off towards the west, maintaining that hurricane status in the H, then downgrading back to a tropical storm as it is expected to curve to the right or curve to the north. As you can see here, back to tropical depression status by Tuesday, not going to be affecting any land at all. Regarding the western Pacific, we are still watching tropical storm Walloi. If I'm not butchering that storm's name, we see it currently lashing the Philippines right now. We also see tropical storm Niaguri to the east of Japan, still moving quite slowly. Infrared right here showing the deep convection associated with that first system across the Philippines, and the other system definitely looking weaker now as it continues to meander out there slowly. We see that it is still expected to continue drifting and moving slowly before it actually starts taking off towards the northeast. It is currently packing about 60 knot wind. Regarding this system here, so we have to keep in mind that we have a lot of friends and relatives who live or work in this part of the world. The Philippines is expected to push off towards Vietnam, so it's not going to be affecting China at all like the other system did. It is currently packing 55 knot wind. We know that systems that pack anywhere from 34 to 64 knot wind are definitely classified as tropical storm. So it's definitely a tropical storm right now. Expected to increase in intensity. We see it getting up to 60, 65 knot winds as it is crossing this sea right here between the Philippines and Vietnam. We'll see it actually plays out. And whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.